If you're like most people who set resolutions at the first of the year, by now your resolutions are long gone. Actually, over 68% of people within 32 days, according to an article in the New York Post, and I've seen the article in a number of locations, 68% are done with their resolutions. Don't let that happen to you. In today's episode of Plant-Based Eating for Health, I'm going to talk about how to set your goals, how to achieve your goals, and the 5 things that you have to do in order to become healthy if that's what your goal is. So stick around.
Are you ready to live the life you deserve? Do you want to feel vibrantly healthy and reach your optimal weight without dieting while being kind to animals and the planet? Then you're in the right place at the right time. Get ready to hear from doctors, nutritionists, experts, and everyday men and women committed to creating a powerful life in mind, body, and soul through ethical food choices. Welcome to Plant-Based Eating for Health with your host, certified plant-based nutritionist, Kathleen Gage.
Well, welcome to the Plant-Based Eating for Health show. It's been a while since I've done an episode and I have flown solo. What that simply means is I'm just talking to you face to face, well, face to screen and then screen to face. And I'm going to share with you 5 strategies that you can use in order to achieve your health goals. Because the reality is a lot of people want to get healthy, but as a society, we are getting more and more unhealthy by the day. Obesity is off the charts. Type 2 diabetes is off the charts. Heart disease is off the charts. Erectile dysfunction is off the charts. Well, yeah, it's off the charts. All the diseases that used to be if you get it, now it's when you get it. More and more every day, we are seeing people diagnosed with diseases that at some point in life it was non-existent. So the whole idea of this podcast episode is to give you strategies on how you can actually set your goal around your health and stick with it. Now, obviously, my recommendation is that you go 100% whole food, plant-based, void of all animal and dairy. What that simply means is become vegan and in your eating protocol, eat as close to whole food, plant-based as you possibly can. Get rid of all the processed foods. And I've got to tell you, I'm not always perfect with that. There are times that I enjoy a vegan junk food and I pay for it. I feel sluggish. I feel bloated. I think, why did I have to do that? And in that moment that I make the decision, I can either make the decision to eat the junk food or not. So let's talk about, first of all, what are your goals around health? Do you want to lose weight? And I should say, do you want to release weight? Do you want to feel better? Do you want to have more energy? Do you want to fit into the clothes that you used to fit into? Do you want to feel better about yourself? Do you want to have more clarity and focus? All of those things are possible if you put a plan in place. Now, the important thing is with your plan in place, be realistic. It's amazing how many people took a year, 2 years, 3 years to gain weight, and they expect to lose it in a week or two. That's not going to happen. And this is not about diets. This is about truly getting to a weight that you feel good about, that is healthy, where your numbers actually become good numbers when you do your blood work, and that you're not worried about getting diseases. With the pandemic still going strong, one of the best ways to protect yourself, should you be diagnosed, should you test positive, is to actually eat a healthy plant-based protocol. I was diagnosed I actually had COVID about 6 weeks ago. And I came through with flying colors. I was a little sluggish. I was a little tired, but I wasn't bedridden. I didn't go to the hospital. I didn't have respiratory problems. I didn't lose my taste. And I attribute a lot of that to the fact that I am very healthy. I eat healthy. I drink plenty of water. Now, this is a container that I fill up over and over again, so I don't go through a lot of plastic bottles, but I use that bottle as a measuring gauge of how much water I should be drinking. So let's assume that you say, okay, it's time for me to get healthy. And I want to remind people that you're listening to the Plant-Based Eating for Health show. This is Kathleen Gage. And if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe and leave your comments. If you're listening to this as an audio format, go ahead and subscribe to what audio format you're listening on, and leave your comments. We always appreciate comments, and subscribe. So there's 5 steps to achieving your goals. Now, we happen to be focusing on health and nutrition, but the reality is that it could be focusing on something around business. I was listening to Mel Robbins earlier today, and she was saying, when somebody says, I want to be a writer, what do they need to do? They need to write every day, regardless of what the outward evidence is right now. You have to write every day, and then you become a writer after you've written a certain number of words and a certain number of pages. Then you start believing it. It's the same with your health and fitness goals. You want to look at what's the end result that I'm trying to achieve, and why am I trying to achieve it? We'll get into that. So let's start with making a commitment. In your commitment, you want to set goals that stretch you, but they don't break you. So what's your commitment to your health? Are you going to give up all meat and dairy? Are you going to give up a portion of your meat and dairy? Are you going to start drinking more water? Are you going to start eating more fruits and vegetables, nuts, legumes, beans, and all of that kind of stuff that really will serve your body and help you to perform at your highest level? So make a commitment as to what you want to accomplish. Next, look at the goals that you're setting and make sure they are a stretch, but they're not so much of a stretch that you're going to get frustrated and give up. Like if you say, oh, I'm going to lose 20 pounds in the next week, that's not realistic. If you say that in 6 months, I will release 20 pounds, that's realistic because you'll do it slowly. You'll do it in a healthy way, and you'll do it in a way that is very, very realistic. Next, you have to look at what your big why is. Why do you want to release the weight? If it's all for outward reasons, probably not going to be something that you stick with. For me, as I think about why I'm vegan, as I think about why I continue to eat a protocol that is completely void of animal and dairy, it used to be for my physical well-being. It used to be for inflammation. It used to be so that I could maintain a healthy weight. It used to be so as I age, I don't get inflammation like a lot of people do, and I don't deal with the standard diseases that a lot of people my age deal with. And now it has kind of reversed in a way that it starts with the animals. The more I've learned about the horrendous treatment that animals go through in factory farms, the less I could ever put any kind of animal or dairy into my body ever again. And that's not just with what I eat. That has to do with also my hair products. It has to do with my cosmetics. It has to do with my clothing. It has to do with everything that I do. I really look to be as cruelty-free as possible. In animal testing, when I buy something, I look to see if it's been tested on animals. And I had somebody the other day who said, so what's wrong with testing on animals? I said, if you knew what they did to animals in the testing, you wouldn't say that. They put drops in that burn eyes. They drill holes in their head. They do horrendous things to the animals. So look at your big why. For me, my big why is it's the animals. That keeps me on the straight and narrow 100%. The other reason is for my health. As I age, as I get closer to my 68th birthday next month, I want to be my best self ever. Ever. I want to be vibrant. I want to be able to talk clearly. And I want to be healthy, vibrant, focused, just energized. I want to be a role model and an example of what's possible. Now, the next thing you have to look at is, what do you need to let go of? What do you need to let go of? You may need to let go of the conversations you have with people about how hard it is to lose weight. You may have to let go of the foods that you keep in your refrigerator that are temptation foods. You may have to let go of some of the stuff that's in your pantry. You may have to let go of the Friday and Saturday night get together with people where you go out and have a few drinks, and you have a few drinks, and then you eat the snacks, and then you eat the steak, and then you eat the this, then you eat the that. Those are the things you may have to let go of. You may even have to let go of a few friends who are not supporting you. You will find that as you start making changes, initially, people will be very, very supportive. However, after you get to a certain point, there are people that are starting to see the changes you're making, and it, in some ways, forces them to confront the changes that they need to make or they've been thinking about making. Not always, but sometimes. So you need to look at what you have to let go of. Then you need to look at what you need to bring into your life. What foods do you need to put in your food and your refrigerator and your pantry? Just today, what I did for breakfast, I actually had an artichoke. I started with banana, then I had an artichoke. I love artichokes for breakfast. Then I made a pot of fresh cream of broccoli soup. Now, by cream of broccoli, I put potatoes in there, onions in there, I put broccoli in there, and I put vegetable broth. And so all of that is 100% vegan. That's going to be my dinner. So I created this beautiful pot of cream of broccoli soup that aligns with my goals. So what do you have to bring into your life? What foods do you need to bring in? What people do you need to bring in? Do you need to get a mentor? Do you need to get a coach? Do you need to get a membership to a gym? Do you need to get a new pair of walking shoes? What are the things that you need that will help you to achieve the outcome you're looking for? Then what you want to do is you want to set yourself up for success. And what that means is you daily must take actions. That's actually the next step. So you want to daily take action. I went out on a run this morning and got up at 5 o'clock. I had a client call at 6 a.m. I don't normally do that, but it's a client who's in the UK and her publicist is in Australia. And so we had to coordinate times. Mine was 6 a.m. The client was 2:30 in the afternoon, UK time. And then the publicist was, I think, 11 o'clock at night, Australia time. We had to come up with a time that worked for all three of us. Normally, I don't book any appointments before 10 a.m. Every so often, I make an exception to the rule when it's a client that I really want to see succeed. And that would be every client I work with. So with that being said, after that, I did my morning routine of doing some stretching. Then I did some journaling. Then I did some reading out of an inspirational book. Right now, I'm reading Mel Robbins' The High Five Habit a little bit every day. And that gets me in the right state of mind. Then I wrote an article that is going to be tied into this particular podcast episode. From there, I went out on a run. And from there, I came back and I prepared myself for the day so that I could complete the tasks that are on my to-do list for the day. So set yourself up for success. So again, the 5 steps for you to succeed. Now, imagine as you go through your day, do you have the energy to get through your day? Do you have the energy and the focus to keep putting one foot in front of the other? Or by 10 o'clock in the morning, you're dragging, so you have that next cup of coffee, that next candy bar or donut, that next sugar rush that will get you the high for a little while, and then you crash and burn. When I used to eat processed sugar, I have to tell you, I would go on a sugar high like nobody's business. My eyes would actually get red. I would be just flying high, and then I would crash and burn. I don't do that anymore since I've become a whole food, plant-based vegan eater. And I want to put the word vegan in there because with some people, the word vegan has a real negative connotation. And with some people, they ask you, how vegan are you? And it's like, what do you mean, how vegan am I? We go in degrees. Very rarely does somebody go from being a carnivore to overnight everything in their life is veganized. I'm talking everything, including their car seats, maybe they have leather boots, maybe they have a leather jacket, maybe they have furniture that's made of leather. All of that is a process of elimination. We don't do it overnight. And that's why I say, start with manageable and achievable goals. So start by setting your goal, make them goals that stretch who you are, but they don't break you. Make a commitment. That's the big one. It's not about setting a resolution. It's about truly making a commitment. Next, what must you let go of? You have to answer that question. What must you let go of? Then, what must you embrace? What must you create in your environment to set yourself up for success? And then take daily actions. This is Kathleen Gage with Plant-Based Eating for Health. I encourage you, please look at the life that you want to lead. And the next time you go to the grocery store, just kind of pay attention to what's going on. Every time I go to the grocery store, I really have to take my judgment cap off because I do get really judgmental. Now, I think the reason I do is at one point I was much, much heavier than I am today. At one point, I couldn't even fit into a size 16 pair of pants. I was really moving close to a size 18. At one point, I did not feel good about myself. I did not have the energy to do what I needed to do. I did not have the focus I have today. I did not have the state of mind that I have today. And I really believe that eating plant-based as a vegan, and again, I want to put that word vegan in there, as a vegan, is a very spiritual thing to do because we are connected with the animals. We are connected with the sentient beings. And if we disconnect ourselves so much that we don't even think about what it takes to get that animal on the plate, on the pizza, on the stick, whatever it may be, the corn dog, the chicken wings, whatever it is, think about where that comes from. And let's not be so disconnected as a people that we really lose sight of the pain, torture, and suffering, the anxiety, the death, the murder, the rape that goes on with animals in order to produce them and get them on your plate. There's so much to this conversation that we could unpack, but for today, that's it. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Plant-Based Eating for Health podcast show.
Thank you for your commitment to an ethical life through plant-based food choices. The kind of choices that are kind to your body, the environment, and most of all, animals. Be sure to leave a review and rating of the Plant-Based Eating for Health podcast show.